Мы находимся в штабе.
The private jet purportedly carrying Russian mercenary boss Yevgeny Prigozhin that crashed, killing everyone on board, was likely shot down by a surface-to-air missile inside Russia. That's according to two U.S. officials on Thursday who spoke to Reuters on condition of anonymity, given the sensitivity of the matter. The officials stressed the information was still preliminary and under review. In his first remarks since the crash, Russian President Vladimir Putin on Thursday expressed his condolences to Prigozhin's family. The president said he'd known Prigozhin since the 1990s, called him a talented businessman, and said he looked forward to seeing whatever investigators learned from the wreckage. Russian authorities have said Prigozhin, his right-hand man, and 8 other people were on the plane that crashed with no survivors north of Moscow a day earlier. It comes 2 months after the mercenary boss led fighters from his Wagner private militia to seize control of the Russian city Rostov and drive north toward Moscow before turning back. One thing that seems clear, Prigozhin's death would remove a powerful figure who had mounted an astonishing, if brief, challenge to Putin.
Obviously, Mr. Prigozhin had become quite a critic of the operation, what they call a special military operation in Ukraine.
Andrew Barin is the executive director of the threat intelligence firm Flashpoint.
If it turns out that it was shot down by Russian air defenses, I think it will have, in that case, if all those facts are true, be pretty clear that this was retribution for the events of that march on Moscow and the criticism of war.
No evidence has emerged to support the widespread belief that Prigozhin was killed as an act of vengeance for staging the mutiny. Wagner had been lauded as among the most effective Russian fighting forces in Moscow's invasion of Ukraine. But as Wagner struggled to take the city of Bakhmut last winter, Prigozhin emerged as perhaps the most vocal critic of Moscow, pushing for an even more aggressive Russian offensive.
Well, I think it really just shows that ultranationalists pose a grave threat to the regime stability inside Russia.
Samuel Romani of the Rusi think tank in London told Reuters removing Prigozhin could, for Putin, be a sign that he's running low on options for dealing with dissent.
So this definitely does show that Putin is still willing to engage in brutal repression of any kind of dissent, and it does strengthen his image in the short term. But it also shows a vulnerability, too, because he needs to use force now to repress these ultranationalists who he previously was able to co-opt and pacify by including them in his coalition. And that doesn't speak well to Putin's sustainability beyond 2024.
A Reuters reporter at the crash site on Thursday morning saw men carrying away black body bags on stretchers. Russian state media gave the disaster low-key coverage.